Economic Wars Part 2. Apparently, I was sitting here thinking I'm broadcasting, and I got out an email from somebody that said that the live stream went dark. It did. So let me see if I can recover this and see if I got this running now, or there's really something wrong with it. I don't know yet. I'm not getting this latest video coming up. Maybe it's too soon. Let's wait and see. Might be a real problem brewing here. Let me reboot this. I think I lost the live stream, but it looks like it's running. I don't get it. I never saw this happen before. So it would be like I'm getting blocked and I'm not supposed to know I'm getting blocked. All right, let me try to log in again and see if this video is coming up. It may not be. I've got internet. Let me make sure I really have internet. Yeah, I got internet. Okay, let's see. Sorry about this, I just don't know what happened. Yeah, I think it's working. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, it's working. This, I just don't know what happened. All right, I got it working now. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's working. Let's see. If anybody gets cut off and you don't have it, try to send me an email. My email address is israelgiving with the number 7 at Gmail. Israel Giving, one word, then the number 7 at gmail.com. Send me an email and I'll be checking the email and make sure it comes up. So I don't know where we got cut off. When I look at it, it's showing me the first one went 40 minutes. So I was discussing the tariffs with Trump, and that Trump is facing counter tariffs now from Mexico and Canada, and a former top-ranking guy at the Federal Reserve was arrested the other day. The Secretary of the Treasury, the number one guy of the Treasury of America, just resigned because he didn't want to reveal to Trump what happened to $1 trillion that Trump's want to find out, and he may have destroyed all the data. I don't know. I don't know if you picked this up. The fire in North Carolina, as of Wednesday last week, had destroyed 250,000 acres, 250,000 acres. Back on Wednesday, it was only 15% contained. Right now, I don't know the containment. It may be a lot better. And I don't know the update on the California fires. I suspect they're still burning to some extent, and they got mudslides and flooding from the rains after that. So that's definitely consideration, and there's been a lot of smallish earthquakes popping up around the world. I've just disliked sending hate from Hannibal, Missouri. Okay. I really don't understand what you mean unless you're saying I'm sending hate, and you could be that way. I'm not going to be terribly upset. A lot of people hate Israel. All right, so Trump's economic wars are going to raise tensions. He's going after BRICS, 29 or 30 countries with 100% tariff. He's going after China. He's going after Mexico. He's going after Canada. He's trying to compel Canada to become a 51st state or face tariffs. He said if Trudeau raises tariffs, he's going to double from 25% to 50%. He's offering a 15% corporate income tax to people opening factories in America. It's not been put into law, but I'm sure it will. And that's what the Canadians actually pay in their corporations, but they beat the 25% tariff. Is that going to make them move their factories to America? I doubt it. And as I told you, Canada, before Trump's latest tariff go-round, was taxing some American food products like butter and I think milk at over 200%, and that's still in place. So Trudeau is putting protective tariffs on American goods to help Canadian companies avoid competition. And, you know, Trump is correct. They were being unfair to him. So is Mexico and China, of course, yeah. But he's threatening to put tariffs on the entire European Union and BRICS, and he can't handle that. It's going to cause more and more countries to want to get rid of America. That's it. That's it, cut and dry. Okay? And that's the road to Jeremiah 50:51. Many countries go after America. And you got the sleeper agents inside America. And we got plane crashes now. We're not sure what's behind that, if anything. Okay? The sleeper agent problem is massive. The deportations aren't going to get the sleeper agents very readily or easily because they know it's coming and they're going to hide. Okay? The cartels are declaring war against America. They're authorizing their cartel people to use drones, weaponized drones, against American forces by the border, like the ICE and the military. So that, of course, is a real problem. And the Secretary of Defense just said that he has not ruled out military attacks against the cartels, which would be basically airstrikes. Trying to compel cartel people to use drones, weaponized drones. I think we're still on there pretty good. All right, so they would use drones mostly to strike cartel leaders in their headquarters, houses, and stuff like that, or traveling in their cars, or in their resorts, or on yachts, or possibly even in aircraft. And, you know, they're not going to invade Mexico, and they're not going to kill all the cartel members. They're just going to do target assassinations to the heads. It's going to get ugly. And Mexico destroys the only walls that Babylon in Jeremiah 50:51 has is Mexico-America walls, which Trump continued building already. And those walls are going to go down. They even get burned. So I think Mexico is going to get fed up and they're going to start knocking the walls down. It doesn't seem hard to imagine how they do that. You just take a big dump truck or a big truck or something, or use explosives, fly drones into the wall and blow them up. And then it makes it a lot easier for people to get into America. And also for cartel people in America to evade law enforcement and get back into Mexico, where they would probably feel they're safer. So that's what's going on there. Okay? It's let me look at a message I got from somebody here. Hold on. me a second. Be right there. Almost done, guys. So what's really going on is we're on the road to the destruction of the daughter of Babylon in Jeremiah 50:51. And Trump is lighting the fire up really good with these economic sanctions, which will likely progress to causing people like from Canada that can easily cross into America to have to apply for visas in advance and pay a good amount of money, like maybe $150 to $300 to get a visa. Things like this dispel members of the Canadian government in America cancel their diplomatic visas and they have to leave. It can escalate. Is he going to invade Canada? I seriously doubt it. Will Canada become a state? Maybe when Trudeau is finally leaving office, which could be in March, it could go that way. I don't know. I'm really not certain about that happening. I think that Trump is not a man of God, so I don't support him. Okay? People in America like to elect a president whose wife, using the term loosely, is a porn star in the past, never repented of it. Trump said, I never asked God for forgiveness because I never did anything that needed it and stuff like this. Come on. He has an imam from Islam perform a blessing at his inauguration, which backfired on him. So I'm not blaming Trump as a man of God at all, okay? So there's going to be trouble with this guy. All right, let's go to some prayer requests which are important to people, of course. And we have a few. For JB, Jack Black, JB, that's not the person's name, but the initials are J as in John, B as in boy. John Boy, JB. JB, prayer request is for healing severe flu-like symptoms for JB. Healing for severe flu-like symptoms. Okay. CM Charlie Mike. CM Charlie Mike. Prayer for help with financial employment situation. Being taken advantage of at work. CM Charlie Mike, help with financial employment situation. And we have one for EY, Echo Yellow, EY, Echo Yellow, EY, healing for the wife and restoration of the marriage. So for EY, healing for the wife and restoration of the marriage. And we have one for JC, John Charlie, JC, John, Charlie, and KC, Kilo Charlie, KC, Kilo Charlie. So it's JC and KC, healing for the marriage. JC and KC, healing for the marriage. Okay. Those are the prayer requests. By the border, like the ICE and the military. So that, of course, is a real problem. And the Secretary of Defense just said that he Is it clear that tariff equals prices going up locally? Yes and no. I'll explain. If you're going to continue buying goods, let's say imported from Canada, the existing stock on the shelves today will not have the tariff on it, but the stuff coming in starting February 1st will. So the odds are very, very, very high the store would raise the retail price by the 25% for the tariff. Okay? Trump's even told the people it'll be a little rough in the beginning, but hang on, it's worth it. So yes, it should cause the prices for the foreign goods to advance, which should also cause the people to switch brands instead of paying the higher price and find an equivalent product that's not subject to the tariffs. So made in America, for instance, or from some other country that's not subject to these tariffs at this time. Okay, I think that's the best answer for that question. So it's a yes and no, really. It depends how the shoppers respond. Okay? All right. Let me take down the prayer requests so I don't repeat them. And I also, early on in the other video, asked you guys to please pray for me and my wife Rivka for our teeth. Both of us have teeth hurting us now. I don't understand that. So please pray for us. No more pain in the teeth and healing for the teeth. All right. Panama, as in the Panama Canal, offered to not renew their contract with China over the Panama Canal. Now, I heard if they're not going to renew it, it might take years for it to go away. Then somebody said they might cancel the contract with China. I am not sure about that part of it. This is not going to satisfy Trump. Trump wants control of the Panama Canal so he could make his sanctions much harder on the countries he's sanctioning, like China, Russia, Iran. And if they start moving goods to beat sanctions, the Panama Canal is closed to those ships. So any ships going to, say, Iran or coming from Iran would be under close scrutiny before they were allowed to pass the Panama Canal. And he also wants to close it to military of foreign countries that are against America and help America. And that's why he's doing that. So just canceling the contract with China is perhaps slightly helpful, but it's not going to satisfy Trump. Trump invaded Panama around with the Noriega thing, and it took, 24, 30 hours to conquer Panama. And that Noriega had his own military. Today, Panama has no military. They just have a police department. They don't have aircraft. They don't have warships. They don't have war aircraft. I doubt they have much in terms of weaponized drones. They probably have nothing. And it's child's play. There's no resistance. Panama may go to another country to help them save the day. China would be the local candidate, but it would be a very gutsy move for China to go send 25,000 troops with aircraft and warships and drones and everything over to Panama to save the canal, because I don't think they care that much. The Canadian currency did drop pretty good against the US dollar. Okay, let's see if I can come up with what the value of the Canadian dollar is right now. I don't see any drop. I just checked. It's 68 cents. What the heck are they talking about? I don't see the drop. Let's see how the dollar's doing against other currencies like the euro. Euro's $1.02. That's on the very low side. When the euro started, it was about 88 cents. And the euro's probably going to go down to par. You know, $1 equals €1. That's what I think will happen. But if Trump puts tariffs on him, you might see the euro go to 90 cents. This hurts these countries when their money goes down that bad. It can hurt them. The British pound against the dollar. The British pound was like $1.28 a few days ago. It's $1.23. That's a substantial knockdown. Let's see if the Swiss franc took a dive. Let's check the Aussie dollar. 61 cents. Yeah, it went down some. It went down a few pennies. It's dropping. That would be likely the dollar strengthening. Swiss franc. $1.09. Swiss franc actually gained on the dollar. I don't see any collapse in the value of the Canadian dollar. Sorry. Let's see how it goes against the Israeli shekel. Something's not working. Let's see. Shekel gained a little bit on the dollar in the last day or two. So it's not that the American dollar is just riding high all over the place. Let's look at precious metals. All right, let's start with silver. $31 an ounce. It's up a little bit. Let's look at gold. $28. Gold's doing all right. It's moving along. I don't see any major big fluctuations going on here. Of course, the US dollar climbing in strength or something like that. I don't see that. All right. Let's go to the Bible. Well, let me check my notes to make sure. Trump's not doing anything about punishing Greenland. I think Greenland's probably going to go for it, becoming a state. If the cartels start flying weaponized drones into the border patrol and the military by the border and trying to kill them, there's going to be a reaction from Trump. This you could take to the bank. What Canada and Panama can try to do is get. I'm sorry, no, I got the figures right. It's not 13% of American exports going to Canada, it's 17%. Sorry. I was close, but not spot on. All right. We're going to need to talk about Egypt, so we'll go to Isaiah 19. This is a prophecy about Egypt that seems most likely for our time. Right now-ish, ish, I said, right? Starting Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, Jehovah rideth upon a swift cloud. Now it says Jehovah. They put it in English as the Lord, and people say, oh, it's Yeshua or something. No, it's Jehovah. Yud He Vav He, Jehovah. Rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. This is similar, something like a visitation. It's not going to go good for Egypt. Now, we told you the other day they had a large buildup of many tanks and armored personnel carriers and soldiers on the border near the Rafah crossing with Gaza, and this violates the deal that went back to Jimmy Carter's day, where Israel and Egypt have a ceasefire with conditions, and this violates some of those conditions. But Israel need not care, and it might be just to stop the flow of Gazans leaving Gaza coming into Egypt. But it seems like it's a lot of overkill for that. So, and I will set. Let's check that word. No, it doesn't really mean set. Set is Natan. This is not that word. Sorkach. Means like a hedge or a defense. And I will hedge or defense the Egyptians against it. No. It's actually doesn't it's turning the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Ruler versus ruler, you might say. And they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor's city. Oh, no, and it's a city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. So they're going to freak out and they're going to go to the people working with the demons. Okay? And the Egyptians will I give over. Let me check the word for familiar spirits first. Oh, it's a kind of vague word. And to the wizards. I'm not sure with that familiar spirits. It's probably somewhat accurate, I believe. I guess I don't know. It's a very unusual word. It's off. Um, to move softly, gently, or could mean a charmer. Okay, could be. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hands of a cruel lord. That's probably going to be someone with the Muslim Brotherhood, getting rid of Sisi. And a fierce king shall rule over them. Not yet. Unless Sisi turns evil, but we haven't been seeing that, but it could happen. Of a cruel lord and a fierce king, and rule over them, saith Jehovah, saith Adonai, Jehovah of hosts. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up. I'm assuming that's the Nile River, which is huge. I'm now in verse 6 of Isaiah 19. And they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of the fence shall be emptied and dried up. The reeds and flags shall wither. The paper reeds by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither, be driven away, and be no more. Okay. The fishers also shall mourn. That's the fishermen, the guys that make a living catching fish in the Nile. Nile has a lot of good fish, you know. The fishers also shall mourn, and all they that cast angle, I guess that's the fish hook, into the brooks shall lament, and they that spread nets upon the waters shall languish. Moreover, they that work in fine flax, you make linen from flax, and they that weave networks shall be confounded. Egypt has a lot of good cotton products, highly sought after. But they need to irrigate the land, I believe, to make the cotton grow, and this is coming from the Nile River, and it's their problem. And they shall be broken in the their purposes thereof, all that make sluices and ponds for fish. Surely the princes of Zoan and the fools, the counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh, is become brutish. How say you unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise son of ancient kings? Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee how, and let them know what Jehovah of hosts hath purposed upon Egypt. You see, they can't do any good. You have very similar situation in Isaiah 47, destruction of the daughter of Babylon, with them calling on the witches and the Satanists and stuff, and it doesn't help. The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. Jehovah hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. Jehovah put this perverse spirit in there. Now, the word for perverse is 5773 Strong's number, ayah. And I think perverse is reasonably decent. Yeah. A perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work. So these perverse, stupid, evil spirits are leading the Egyptians away from anything resembling sane decisions. The princes of Zoan are become fools, the princes of Noph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Egyptians, it's referencing. Jehovah hath mingled a perverted spirit in the midst thereof. They have caused Egypt to err in every work, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. I think we could be seeing the beginning of this with them putting tanks at the Israeli border and stuff. I don't know what's up with that. They put a lot of them there. It could be deterrent against Gaza civilians rushing in. I don't know. Because they're going to open up that Rafah crossing into Egypt. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. It likely is that, but maybe not. Now I'm in verse 15 of Isaiah 19. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So there's going to be vast unemployment there. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of Jehovah of armies, which he shaketh over it. And that's the common thread in Zechariah 12. We see that operating too, the enemies and stuff. And the land of Judah, Zechariah 12 actually. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. See, God calls the land we have now Judah. He calls it Israel when the 10 tribes are back and we get all the land that he promised us, which hasn't happened yet. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Every one that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself, afraid of himself, because of the counsel of Jehovah of armies, which he hath determined against it. In that day, now it's saying in that day, so let's read this a little more carefully. Shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan and swear to Jehovah of hosts? One shall be called the city of destruction. In that day shall there be an altar to Jehovah in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to Jehovah. So they're going to be declaring they worship Jehovah. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto Jehovah of hosts in the land of Egypt, for they shall cry unto Jehovah because of the oppressor, and he shall send them a Savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them. Who is the Savior and the great one? Likely Apostle John or Elijah. And it doesn't state, so I'll just give you the likely choices. And Jehovah shall be known to Egypt and to the Egyptians shall know Jehovah in that day, and shall do sacrifices and oblations, yea, they shall vow a vow unto Jehovah and keep it. This could be the day, the day of vengeance, when the enemies are destroyed by the 2 witnesses, they burn them up round about. And this is likely that day, I guess. They shall vow a vow unto Jehovah and perform it. It's not the end of the Gog and Magog and the tribulation, because then everything shifts to New Jerusalem. And this is not shifting to New Jerusalem here in Isaiah 19. So that day is probably this Zechariah 12 siege, when that's over, in Zechariah 12:6, when the enemies are burned up. And, you have the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man, the moon goes to blood, the sun goes dark, all of this, the trumpet from heaven. And Jehovah shall smite Egypt, he shall smite and heal it, and they shall return even to Jehovah. He shall be entreated of them, and shall heal them. In that day shall there be a highway out of Egypt to Assyria. Now, we have no country named Assyria, so it's just you could look on a Bible map of Assyria, and it's going to be a number of countries. And the Assyrians shall come into Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyria, and the Egyptians shall serve with the Assyrians, serve the Lord. In that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt, and with Assyria, even a blessing in the midst of the land, whom Jehovah of hosts shall bless, saying, Blessed be Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, my inheritance. So that means we get the land. So Israel is also his firstborn. In another scripture. So this gives you a pretty good idea. Mostly the damage is being done from Egyptian against Egyptian, not against Israel. But they do come to faith because the Israelites were treated well by them at the beginning of their captivity. At the end, they got bad. Okay, so God pays them back. Okay? I'm looking something up. All right. Now we'll go to Isaiah 13. Purpose being, I'm going to show you how to determine where you see the Ezekiel 38, great day of the Lord war, and you could be differentiating from the Zechariah 12, perhaps better. And let me check the live stream real quick. If we got questions, you can put up prayer requests, source requests, questions, scriptures. I don't think people go into that that they understand the deepness of what Trump is doing with the sanctions. Most of the people in America don't grasp it. I think we're substituting for local products within your own country. To a great extent in Canada and America, you'll be able to do it, but perhaps not in all cases. We don't go to dentists because we don't like their type of medicine. And it's very, very expensive, like everything in Israel. And the medical care in Israel is not the way it was in America when America was, going back, 20 years or something like that. It's not very good here. All right. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. When it says the burden of Babylon, that's not good. Lift you up, for them it's not good. Lift you up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountain, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations, gathered together. Jehovah of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. So you see here, you're seeing a lot of nations. Okay. They come from a far country from the end of heaven, even Jehovah and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl you, for the day of the Lord is at hand. Now, this is the day of the Lord. Now, America doesn't make it to the day of the Lord in Ezekiel 38. The Babylon you're talking about here is America, the daughter of Babylon, and it ain't going to make it to Ezekiel 38. Okay? Howl you, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Because there's a lot of believers in America, a lot of lost tribes, a lot of known Israelites, about as many as there are in Israel and Judah. There's 6.5 million in America. They got to get out. They get out right after, or right around the time of Zechariah 12, not in Gog and Magog, okay? All right, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be flames. So what it really says is, I believe punim, let's check. Punim, which is the word for face. So it says punim, and then it says, what? Something's weird here. Punim again. Oh, I see what they did. Yeah, their face shall be like flaming. Well, it says punim, face, and then it says burning for flame, or face of flame, or face burning. Okay. Then it goes on, behold, the day of Jehovah cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Now, this is the great day of the Lord. In the beginning, when we get up to the point where Yeshua is going to appear and start the second 70 of Daniel, it doesn't say 70 weeks in Daniel 9:24. In every single Hebrew manuscript, it says Shavim, Shavim, identical. 70, 70, 2 70s. The first 70 was the Babylonian captivity. The next 70 begins with the appearing of the sign of the son of the beginning of the sign of the son of man, and the redemption for us in the everlasting life, which is not immortality. So this is after the second 70 is over, and it's the end of the tribulation, and this is an indicator that Yeshua is going to be returning to the earth, beast and false prophet in the lake of fire, Satan in the pit, New Jerusalem coming down, the whole bit. Okay? And here, the sun goes dark, the moon goes dark, and the stars don't give their light. Okay? Now we're in verse 11. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their lawlessness, and I will cause the Okay, so you have to understand that if you read Joel chapter 2, you'll see the differentiation in there. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their lawlessness, and I will cause the arrogant of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Now, again, I remind you that the chapter numbers and the verse numbers are artificial, put in by the publishing houses that print the Bible. In their original form, they were in a continuous scroll. It's called a safer in Hebrew. So they make the breaks where they want them, and they don't understand prophecy, so that's why you get awkward stuff at times. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. That's a very fine gold. So there's a lot of men are going to get killed here. Therefore, I will shake the heaven, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Jehovah of hosts and the day of his fierce anger. And that's when we get the new heaven and the new earth. Okay? And that's generally not known by the people in the church world. And it shall be as the chased roe and as the sheep that no man taketh up, then they shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone unto his own land. Well, a lot of them were probably attacking Israel, you know. Every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Now that's what the Gaza people did to Israel on October 7th. It comes back to them. That's how they operate. They're heathen. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Now, I guess it's talking about the ones, well, they're getting killed, the bad ones here. And, well, this is curious. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans, excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. See, so now he's talking about getting rid of the daughter of Babylon. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there. So there's likely Arabians attacking the daughter of Babylon. To make sense of this, I assume that would be why they don't stay there, they leave. There neither shall the shepherds make their fold there, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. So the mansions, the houses that are left standing, are going to have animals living in them. And owls shall dwell there. Owls will fly into a mansion with a high ceiling or something like that, or you got multiple floors with an atrium. As long as they can get up high and feel safe, they'll go in there. Shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasure palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So this is another destruction of daughter Babylon depiction of scriptures, and it's rather interesting. And Trump is putting the country into this. Of course, Biden had a heavy hand in it, a real heavy hand. Biden wanted to destroy America himself, I think, or severely change it. I don't know. He has not ruled out checking the live stream and more. Well, looks like we're good. All right, let me get back on my notes here. All right, somebody has some questions, and they're reasonably decent questions. And I want to try to help people how to teach things. Okay. When you want to teach the second Exodus, the easiest way to do it is to go to Ezekiel 20, verse 33. That describes it quite well. Jeremiah 16 and 17 and Jeremiah 23 also help. Ezekiel 20, beginning in verse 33, really is an excellent summation of that. Okay? I'm not going to go through it all here for the sake of time. I covered the 270s. How do people know when it's time to leave the daughter of Babylon and pack and so forth? You'll know. This is something you'll know. The true believers will know, and they will come. They will have the everlasting life. When you see Yeshua, that's when you're going to be leaving in the clouds. So it's rather obvious. Probably before that, you'll see the sun go dark and the moon turn to blood. Then Yeshua will appear in the clouds like the lightning from the east to the west, and everybody will see him. Revelation 1:7 says every eye shall see him. Those that are believers that see him will have everlasting life. They'll jump out of the stall like a calf, be young and healed and everything like that. Okay? Why isn't God healing us now? Well, I spend a lot of time thinking about this, and I expect a multiple amount of reasons, but some of us do get healed. But we don't get the total full body healing, do we? We don't get young. We don't get that everlasting life when we're young and stuff like that. Again, so, whoops. Wrong chapter. Let's try that again. Hosea 6:1 and 2. Come and let us return unto Jehovah, for he hath torn, and he will heal us. He hath smitten, and he will bind us up. After 2 days will he chaya, give us this life. That's the everlasting life, after the 2,000 years. The next is the third day, which is the millennium, raise us up, and we live in his sight. Raise us up is not a rapture. We'll be living, Yeshua will be enthroned with the glory of God of Israel. The two of them will apparently see him, and probably be able to approach them sometimes, I guess, somehow. I don't know what the rules will be about that, but there'll be rules, I'm sure. But Yeshua's really nice. I mean, you won't believe how nice he really is. You'll melt. He's really nice. So, I don't have the right word. Nice, loving, you'll know. You'll melt. So, that's why he's not healing us entirely now. Of course, it's been prophesied that it's going to happen then. So if a bunch of us were running around completely healed, It wouldn't be then, it would be now. So you would kind of bust up the prophecy sequencing in order. It wouldn't work well for him and prophecy. So has to do. We do get healed, but we normally still say busted up, don't we? Things wrong. And I know it's hard. Everybody's weary, and people have told me this is like a family coming here, and I welcome all the true believers in Yeshua HaMashiach for real to this family. And I'm glad I can do things to help people. And I'm busted up too. I don't have friends here. I had friends, and then I wind up telling them to watch my YouTube channel, and they basically excommunicate me from themselves because of my doctrine. And they go to the Messianic congregations off and on, time to time. Some go weekly, some go maybe once every 3 months or 2 months. They listen to the music, they don't know doctrine, they don't know what's going on, they don't know anything. And some of them study false teachers, and they got deviant doctrines, and they're all screwed up. Some are waiting for the tribulation to come to Israel. So they don't have much use for me. I could only have limited friendships with the unbelievers, the ones that never went to church and don't go to the synagogues. They're just, you could have them as acquaintances and casual friends, but I really don't have fellowship. I'm in the same boat as you. It's me and my wife. And that's that. That's just what it is. Not much to be done about that. And that's another thing, I think, for a lot of reasons. It keeps us humble. It keeps us, through your weakness, his strength is made perfect, right? That's the scripture. So you're not relying on man, you're relying on him more and more, which is very important to get through these times. His overall motive is love, Jehovah, okay? I would think. And making sure you make it through. The ones that are real, the ones whose names are written in the book of life, they get you through it. And is it hard now? Oh, it is terribly hard. And it also keeps us humble because we know what's coming and we're not there yet, so we can't behave the way we will when we hit redemption, because then the Lord's going to be in our heart. He'll give us a new heart of flesh. We're going to be different. We'll probably have the mind of Christ. Things are going to be altogether different for us, but we're not there yet. We're not that person yet. So we have to stay humble. So all these things that are wrong with us physically in our lives and our families and our neighbors and our friends and our jobs and economics and all this are accomplishing all these things to keeping us humble. Where the rich are running around thinking it's never going to end. They're insane. How can you be friends with them? They're mean, they're evil, and they're nuts. They're in a delusion. They're crazy. So the next big thing we're going to see is the appearing of Elijah openly working in Jerusalem, and that is possibly going to be a trigger for some of you to come to Israel. And a lot of you are going to want to come here, and I'm sure some of you will. You got the true gospel. I think that's very much needed in these days. If he puts the law in their hearts, in all our hearts, that word would be Torah. So I think he's basically meaning to say, put the Bible in our hearts, we'll be in good shape. Thinking. It's hard, but he's working, all things work to good for those who love the Lord. So it's all going to work to your good. but it stinks along the way. Another way I've heard people phrase it is, he burns the dross out of you and that fire is hot. And it hurts. Most of you, if you look at where you're at today and roll the clock back 2 years, you'd see you probably came a great long way for the better. It's still hard though. It's not easy. I don't know exactly when Elijah's going to appear, but the prospects of peace right now are hanging by a thread with this Lebanon and Gaza ceasefires, and we're fighting a limited war in the West Bank. Iran is barking threats again, and the Houthis are lunatics, and the people in Syria will turn against us, I'm sure, eventually, and we don't know where Iraq stands, although they're playing ceasefire right now. I don't know. I don't think it's going to take much longer. Remember, Syria fell in 11 days. You might see things happen in a single day, that day, which is probably the day of vengeance, which would be the first day of redemption, and the last day of recompenses. So Jeremiah 30:11, where he says he'll destroy all the nations he scattered the Israelites into. Could be that day it happens. It can come. Just boom, it's there. You know, like Syria falling. But it may not take 11 days. It may take 3 days or 4 days or 1 day or half a day. I don't know. So we gotta wait. Is Israel in the siege right now? Well, yeah, sort of, kind of, but it's not complete yet. You know, it'll get complete. So what we could do is pray. Pray God makes you feel good. Pray God makes your way easier. Pray for mercy and grace. Pray for Him to have fellowship with you, shed His love on you. I'm talking about praying to Jehovah in Yeshua's name. And we just plod on like soldiers, you know. When you get your marching orders, you march. When you don't have marching orders, don't march. Stay put and wait. If you're not getting marching orders, you're probably where you're supposed to be. It's hard. Don't think it's not hard, because it's hard. And we all go through it. We pray for each other. Pray to the Lord to make the way for all the true believers, you know, more pleasant or easier or more merciful. Sounds the best, more merciful. And, you know, pray that you learn quick, that you don't make mistakes. Pray the Lord warns you before you go astray so you could avoid the punishment. All right. So thank you for the prayers, and please keep praying for me and my wife Rivka about our teeth to get healed, and pray I keep recovering from losing Yaffa and Chief in a month. Oh, my little babies, you know. My wife generally takes charge for the control for the two big dogs, which I love, and they love me, and we cuddle a lot, and they're both doing fine. And I was taking care of the little dogs, so um, I know it was probably to lighten my burden for what's to come, but it hurt, it really hurt, and it still hurts, you know. Maybe I'm a jerk. I got too overly attached to animals, but many of you share the same thing. The world now, let me tell you what I think. The world now is very cold and harsh, all over the place, everywhere. People are backstabbers, nasty, mean, thieves, liars, cheats, contract breakers, and so the dogs are not this way. They look up at you with loving eyes. They really mean it. They're not deceiving. Dogs don't lie, really, They'll do things like steal a piece of steak off the table when you're in another room, eat it, and then make believe that they didn't do it because they can't possibly figure out how you knew they did it because they don't have that cognition ability. They are much simpler thinkers, and they say, well, he or she didn't see me eat it, so they don't know I ate it. You know, years and years ago, I had a friend whose dog ate a 5-pound chocolate cake his mother just baked. Boy, was she livid. And then he starts barfing because he tried to stuff 5 pounds of chocolate cake down his throat as quick as he could. I lived with this dog later on, and he was a character. He was really a nice enough dog, and he was very protective of the house and us, but he was a little, I don't know, he's a little whack job. But moving along, what I'm trying to say is when we get redemption and we have all our brothers and sisters in the Lord and the land with us, I don't think we're going to have that same attraction for the animals. We're going to multiply, so there's going to be, we'll all be young again and multiplying again, so there's going to be all kinds of young kids and babies running around. There'll be all kinds of interesting people to hang out with from the dry bones. Some of these people have been in Israel 1,000, 2,000, maybe 3,000 years ago, who knows? They'll certainly be fun to talk with, right? And you'll have the two witnesses, the glory of God of Israel, the temple down from heaven. You'll have all this great stuff going on. And I don't know, let me give you a case in point. I've seen several times in my life people are a young married couple and they go out and they get a German Shepherd puppy or a poodle or a beagle, you name it, it doesn't matter. And they treat him like a son or a daughter if it's a girl dog. And the dog loves it and they really bond and things get really good. And then the woman gets pregnant. And then the baby comes. And then the dog goes to the back burner. Now, most of these people are nice to the dog and they compensate and they keep letting the dog know they love him and hug him and kiss him and treats and everything else. And the dog sees the baby as a puppy in the pack and daps, So, you see what I'm saying? The emphasis shifted over to the child, and we'll be that way, not just children, but other people and stuff. Where I'm kind of alone, it's just me and my wife, and I don't get out much, so the dog's very, very important to me. I, would really, I would really love them off. I like them. And I like the fact that had friends, So I really don't have friends. I got you all as friends, but you're distant friends on the internet, You're still friends, and I know it. but it's not the same thing. So yes, I fell into the trap of getting overboard with the dogs. If there is such a thing, I don't know. I don't know where we're penalized to not shed love forth. Never read that scripture. So, but I think when we get into redemption, we're going to have so much good going on. We're not going to have a need to have a pet or pets for companionship. Now, I'm not saying some of us won't. We might very well have them. Okay, I don't know. But we're going to have plenty of other things to shed our love on. They're going to love us back. So the need could be gone. Now, I used to have cats. My wife's allergic. Cats don't have as highly of a developed emotional system as dogs. Okay, cats can be a lot more independent, and they require a certain amount of your love and compassion for them, but it's not as great as I think it is with dogs. And cats also could be very, very happy as inside cats, especially if they have a window to look out and they can see stuff. And I think the most important thing is you have to have at least two cats in the house. They eventually, the fur will fly and one will establish dominance over the other, and then it's relatively reasonably peaceful, and they are companions for each other. Three cats is probably even better, you know. But then you run a risk of two of them could turn against one of them and make the poor thing miserable. With two, I think it's a safer bet, and they're fine when you have a pair of cats and they're inside. They like it. They have a longer lifespan. Assuming your house has some sort of climate controls and they have, heat in the winter and cooling in the summer, they're really happy. And they'll sleep with you, they'll cuddle up against you. And, is it better to put the cats outside? Well, I don't know. Pluses and minuses. They're in great danger of getting killed and busted up by other animals, getting hit by cars or killed by an animal. People poison cats because they hate them because of meowing. That's another risk. And things like this happen, you know? So, are you better? And you don't know what they're eating when they're out. So, you're better off with an inside or an outside cat. The cats like to take chances, so they like being outside. But, it's a dangerous world out there for a cat, you know? I was so bad with my cats that I used to teach them fighting. In case they ever run away, they could defend themselves better because they were inside cats. And I used to use a box and stick pencils up out of the box and they would swat and attack it and give them things they could bite and attack. I just wanted them to keep their skills with their claws and their mouth honed, so if anything happened, they would be able to deal with it. That's how bad I get too overboard on cats and dogs, and I miss them, the ones I had in my life that I had to give up because I was poor at the time and couldn't keep them, and it's just terrible to look on their face when they knew they were leaving me. I hated it. It's like I'm at the point now where I just, because I don't ever want to go through this again, it hurt me so much that I'm afraid to get attached to animals again, really. It, I just, it's horrible, People get like this and they say, I'm only going to get a pet that will outlive me. And the ones they usually wind up with, not all the time, are parrots, which live 40 years. But the parrot, if you're with a parrot for 12 or 18 years or something like that, it's terribly difficult for the parrot to adjust when you're gone. Do they make it? Normally. If somebody loves them up and gives them a nice nurturing environment and they're not bored. Yeah. And if there's 2 or 3 birds in the house, it makes a big difference, because they get very obsessed with observing and interacting with the other bird. That keeps them going. You got to stimulate their minds, you know. If you build the cage and put them outside and they could interact with other birds that will come around, and you can kind of control them, and it's better too, but not by themselves. If you're an old person like me and you're home all the time or almost all the time, and you get a parrot and you have the parrot near you and you interact, a lot of people have them just on their shoulder and they hang out with you all day. They're usually quite happy, but I'm actually afraid to get another pet because it's so painful. Oh my gosh. You know, painful. So, we're moving forward. I'm watching the Daughter of Babylon with Trump, and every day or two or a third day, I see him pushing America closer and closer to the brink, and it'll come. The sleeper agents are already in place. America's enemies were stacked up pretty good before Trump. Now they're getting worse. So, thank you for the prayers. Like I say, a lot of times I find myself riding on your prayers, and appreciate you praying for my wife and praying for our teeth to heal up. And please pray for better videos. Pray for me and my wife for peace, safety, protection, joy, healing. Pray for our finances. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Let me see if I got any prayer requests or something that might have just come in. No, I don't think so. All right, so to all my internet family that love Yeshua HaMashiach, I send my sincere shalom to you. And you can all, I really appreciate it when you guys write me, not just to console me on the pets, but you want to ask questions or tell me what you think of the broadcasts, or anything like that. I welcome it. I really do. And you're not bothering me, okay? You're not bothering me. And I send my shalom to all you guys who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I am out. Thank you.